DCeased Dead Planet issue 3, Tom Taylor, not to be confused with Tom King, who we just
Yeah.
had. Also, I said refused, they're not confused. So let's just move on with our lives. Trevor here signing on the art. We had the big reveal last issue of Plastic Man. That's no river. That's not blood. It's plastic. And we had the payoff to it this time. And I have to say, Zatanna burning it all with hellfire as the almost the Thing-esque kind of like contortions of the plastic trying to survive in the fire. Or
Cool
even
as shit.
maybe another example. I'm thinking kind of the Thing trying to survive in fire, but also maybe like the T-1000 and the molten metal. Yeah, that kind of vibe. Digging that a lot. So yeah, we get introduced to this basically some billionaire villains who have survived in Australia, and that's why the green's disturbed here. The Floronic Man's been kind of used as a sort of basically just a vegetation device.
I think they're just using him to grow food over and over and over again.
He's a production thing, and that pisses Swamp Thing off.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, he beheads Maxwell Lord with like one simple squeeze of a vine.
I love the sound effect for that was the pop.
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. No, this was delightful. I mean, I don't want to gloss over the first half too much because the art of Plastic Man on fire was glorious.
Yeah, so combining this with Suicide Squad, we definitely see Taylor's stance on billionaires using resources to their advantage in a not so good way. Which
I just saw 2019 in movies described as eat the rich was the theme of the year. Tom Taylor's running with that and going, no, this is the comics this year.
But I do like the characters there because who's that? Penguin and Max Lord and Jason Blood. So I was trying to figure out some other ones, which you're more the magic side of things. Connor, is Jason Blood like a rich guy too?
Yeah, I didn't know that
old
actually.
English aristocrat sort of fella, isn't he?
Okay.
Yeah,
I think it's more just the idea of he's that old, he's built up that much wealth.
Yeah, I never thought of him as being rich, so that did stick out to me.
I don't recall if he started off like when he was younger, if he was always like that. I don't recall that part. I think it's just over the years he just built up wealth. He lives in a goddamn castle,
Right, and that's fine, but it got us to the demon. It got us Etrigan in this book. So, and what that hints at, which is stupidly exciting to me,
and also confirms that Tom Taylor says Constantine, not Constantine, because that is obviously a running debate amongst people.
No, it's not. No. It's not a debate. There's people who are wrong, and there's people who say Constantine. That's it.
I mean,
it's over.
There's the creator who says Constantine.
Constantine.
He's wrong.
And I'm not.
You know what?
To say
you can pick fights with Alan Moore all you want. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't want to be cursed.
No, thank you.
Look, he's wrong, and while we're on it, the creator of the GIF tried to say it's pronounced GIF. No, it is GIF. You are wrong.
Look,
here's the thing.
If you want to play into this though of Constantine, have fun with it like Taylor does here.
By answering it in the form of a rhyme.
But not even that. He tells Etrigan, I don't got time for your rhyming bullshit, dude. And he does it anyways, almost to spite him. So maybe it is Constantine and not Constantine, but Etrigan uses it as a rhyme to annoy him. So either way, it doesn't really matter.
So anyway,
right?
the thing that this reveals though, and again, this is Taylor just using more and more of the DC universe, just when you thought there was no corners left for him to, find something else. Here we go. So basically, hell is pissed because none of the souls are going to hell during the undead apocalypse, and as a result, Trigon is upset and is possibly coming to wreak havoc on everyone. So
I love the idea of Trigon as a Lovecraftian nightmare. So like I'm not big on him as a being for the Teen Titans to fight, right? But I love him as an idea that causes madness and is, Raven's burden and whatnot. So if that's the direction they're going here, although him standing there looking like a proper demon was a pretty good visual. But yeah, just the idea that he's pissed and he's going to burn the earth. Yeah, that was cool.
That's something.
I mean, not to spoil everything, but, this is not the only book I read this week with Trigon in. and it's notable how much better he is here. No, I'm not naming any names of what book Trigon may or may not be showing up in later on.
Wait, hard. But there's only one book Matt didn't read though, right? Oh, two. Didn't read Justice League. But
you didn't read it either.
What did you read?
There's something. We'll get there later.
Okay, so.
But there's nothing on the list. Why didn't you tell me to add something to the list?
Because I didn't listen to you when you did the list. I just assumed. You think I listened to you?
Well, we know now you don't.
Well, it's not getting timestamped. It's not on my list. It's not getting timestamped. So, it'll just be a weird blank section in the timestamps, and it's Connor's fault. What else have we come out this week? Doesn't matter. Like, so there's a scene with Damien and Gordon, which is quite nice.
Really nice.
Where Damien goes in for a hug, and but what really made this work for me was the dialogue afterwards, where it's like, hey, it's a good job. None of the villains figured out that you could just get rid of Batman with some intimacy. And Jim's like, yeah, if he could be scared out of Gotham with a pat on the shoulder.
I love that.
Weird seeing Damien this emotionally secure. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Damien has the potential to be this. I'm just so used to seeing him still in angry teenager phase that it's weird seeing him.
But when you grow up in, Superboy's your best friend who becomes Superman, like it changes you.
You're dragged kicking and screaming into emotional maturity.
Yeah, and I kind of like that because that makes sense for Damien, that he wouldn't want to become his father, so he does the opposite. That's the type of kid he is.
John wakes up from his injuries, hangs out with Mary Marvel. Not much to say, but it's there.
I did like that because it kind of teases. I always love when they pair up the Shazam family with the Super family.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that that's there, I like them interacting.
But anyway, who do the billionaires have around but Professor Ivo? And what does that mean? It means Amazos. Multiple Amazos. So the team retreat, thinking like we'll have to come back and deal with these billionaires at some point. But they've got an entire assembly line. We see dozens and dozens. We're probably meant to assume there's hundreds of Amazos under their control.
And
army.
This is the problem because their plan is just, well, we got Amazos. Let's go wipe out all the zombies and we can go back and have the world to ourselves.
Which I actually quite like that now it's about saving the zombies, bizarrely. I think that's a nice touch.
Yeah, because like a few issues ago, if this plan had been in the what was the other mini that we had in between them?
Unkillables.
Unkillables, yeah. If this plan had been in there, we'd have gone, oh, this is a great plan. This is exactly what they should be doing. Yeah, it seems harsh, but hey,
Yeah, but now we have the tease that there's a cure, and that the souls aren't going to hell, which means they're probably also not going to the other place.
Which means they're not going anywhere, which means they're still in there.
They're retrievable,
right.
Yes.
Exactly. So having the Amazos kill them all now is a superhero problem, and they have to save the day, which I love that it's a post-zombie story, right? It's not about the zombies anymore. It's back doing superhero shit.
It's back to superheroes. We just happen to be saving zombies now.
Yeah, and it all leads to Constantine going to Mr. Miracle. This is the first part of the plan. He goes with Bobo.
They need the other half. So if there's an anti-life equation, right, there must be a life equation.
Yeah, they're hoping that the Mother Box is going to help some answers, and he's got one. And basically, Constantine, he says, Superman, you'll come into play later, probably saving everything. But he's like, hey, Wonder Woman being Cassie, of course, I need to borrow something. And you assume it's probably the lasso, but you don't actually get to see it yet. And it's not until he's in the scene with Mr. Miracle, who is so jaded. Bard is gone. He is miserable. He's got the big caveman hair, the beard, all the rest of it. And he said, hey, there's a way to save her. And Mr. Miracle doesn't, really believe him, but he holds up the lasso in his hand and says, ask me. So it's kind of this play to get him on board, to get Scott-Free on board. And I like that. So, the ending is basically this alliance kind of forming and
Yeah.
And right, because
I like that everyone knows Constantine enough that without that lasso, no one's believing a word that comes out of his mouth.
No, of course not. But I also love that out of everybody that escaped this, virus, because we saw Mr. Miracle go down, with the rest of the Justice League.
He was in the bar, wasn't he? He was in the Oblivion bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Beetle and Barda and all of them, and he still managed to escape it. And so, there's something with the New Gods that counteracts this,
Well, I say, of course, Mr. Miracle escapes even this death,
right?
Because he escapes.
But there is precedent here though, because we did see Slade's healing factor held it in check numerous times.
Mm-hmm.
Until finally he had no more head, so there's no more nothing much else to do.
Yeah,
so
honestly,
there are limits to this.
When you're in a zombie apocalypse situation, you really have to keep your head on. Otherwise,
you do.
Otherwise, this is going to go well.
That's like the one rule in a zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
Heads are the most important part.
Even for the zombies, they have to keep their heads on, or they're screwed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes all sense. So that's issue 2. I liked it a lot. I think because issue 2 had the great ending, but I thought it was maybe a bit of a quieter issue in the first chunk, right? Even though it was about the cure being a thing.
I do feel like Taylor is leaning into more of these. I don't want to say shock for shock value, but like the first issue ended with with John getting stabbed through, right? And it looks dire. The second issue ended with Zatanna looking like she was gone down, inhaling a chunk of Plastic Man, But I do feel like he's definitely leaning more into that side of comic storytelling versus what he's been doing, which is cool.
Yeah, there's not one of
surprises.
Those cliffhangers in this issue, though.
No.
I think it's a more consistent issue because we have the action actually a bit more spread out with the zombie stuff at the start and then the Amazo stuff maybe 2/3 through.
Yeah, that's all I was really trying to say. Is I think this issue is more even overall.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting with the pace and the way it cuts back and forth because we got all the stuff with the those characters in the bunker, but we cut back to the main camp and see John, for example, and whoever.
I also feel like Hairsign, while doing all the cool zombie stuff, some of the facial stuff in this one was a little bit of a step back. That's just personal preference.
I've always thought his faces were a bit off, but
yeah, but it's been pretty. The first 2 issues were pretty consistently decent, and this one, like, not that it felt rushed, but definitely felt more of the Hairsign vibe. Like he was a little bit looser than he has been. So yeah.
All right, Matt, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna give this an 8.
Connor?
It's another 8.5 from me.
I'm going to agree with Matt this time and go with the straight 8. Really good. I love how Taylor keeps finding new things to use in this universe from DC's like wide, history. So that's DCeased Dead Planet issue 3.